in their head. Instead, in any sense that you could use the word dollar, or sorry, that you could use the word money, instead of saying the word money in any sentence that you say or any sentence that you hear said on the media or from your friends, instead of the word money, just instead of the word dollar, sorry, instead of the word money, just use the word gold or silver. Just use that. And then you'll see how everything fits into place. You'll see how the gold and silver are the money. They're not an inflation hedge. They're just money that's not inflated. And as credit loses value, it loses value into money itself. That's what's happening here. The mainstream media doesn't get it. The people don't get it yet, but they think that maybe Bigfoot is real. Maybe the stackers are not totally insane. Maybe this is going to happen again, as it's happened every single time without exception. Every time credit collapses, gold goes to infinity in terms of that credit. There will not be an exception this time. The only difference this time is this time it's global, and this time it's everything, and this time there are no escapees.
Gold has recently surpassed $4,300 per ounce, signifying its most significant weekly increase in years. Meanwhile, silver has surpassed $53, which has severely disrupted the London metals market. Central institutions are accumulating bullion. The confidence in paper assets is rapidly diminishing, and delivery times are being extended. For years, Rafi Farber and Lynette Zang have been warning that this moment was unavoidable, that every credit crisis in history concludes in the same manner. Real money emerges from the ashes, currencies collapse, and confidence collapses. However, this time the situation is global, and there are no remaining escape routes. They are of the opinion that the floodgates will open, sell contracts will disappear, supply will dry up, and prices could rise to the triple figures once silver closes above $50. Farber refers to it as the termination of the credit delusion. Zang refers to it as the return of genuine value. They are cooperating to raise the alarm. The vast monetary reset has already commenced.
The answer is yes and no. We have a long way to go in terms of consciousness. This is, sort of like a monster, maybe roaring in the background, and you turning around and saying, what was that? And maybe you were a little bit scared, and you think that you don't believe in Bigfoot. But maybe there is a Bigfoot, and you don't know for sure, and you're not going to discount all of the theories anymore. But in terms of time, I don't know if we have a lot of time. We have a lot of consciousness changing, but consciousness can change very quickly. That's what hyperinflation is. It's one day credit is money, or credit works, and the next day it does not. And the main point that I want to hammer here is that when gold does things like this, there is the general confusion among the mainstream media. They're like, oh, gold, we don't know why it's going up, but it's generally a safe haven asset and an inflation hedge, and that's why it has historically done that, and so people are going back to it because they always have, and we don't have any other answers other than this is tradition. That's not why. The answer is that gold is money right now. It always has been money, and all the other stuff is credit, and credit is based on money. The purchasing power of credit is based on money. You cannot have credit without it first being based on money, and all the other credits are credits based on the main credit, which is the US dollar, which is based on money. Everything connects. And that's why it's described as an inflation hedge, because it's just money that isn't inflated. And I would challenge the viewers of this show, and your viewers generally, and my viewers and Lynette's viewers, to play this little experiment in their head. Instead, in any sense that you could use the word dollar, or sorry, that you could use the word money, instead of saying the word money in any sentence that you say or any sentence that you hear said on the media or from your friends, instead of the word money, just instead of the word dollar, sorry, instead of the word money, just use the word gold or silver. Just use that. And then you'll see how everything fits into place. You'll see how the gold and silver are the money. They're not an inflation hedge. They're just money that's not inflated. And as credit loses value, it loses value into money itself. That's what's happening here. The mainstream media doesn't get it. The people don't get it yet, but they think that maybe Bigfoot is real. Maybe the stackers are not totally insane. Maybe this is going to happen again, as it's happened every single time without exception. Every time credit collapses, gold goes to infinity in terms of that credit. There will not be an exception this time. The only difference this time is this time it's global, and this time it's everything, and this time there are no escapees.
Well, yes, the answer is yes. And I always say that I think everybody should do what the smartest guys in the room on any given topic are doing for themselves. And so since 2008, we have seen the global central banks pile into gold, and the last several years at the highest level ever. Now, when you look at a relative performance chart over, say, the last year or last 200 days, you see, I believe that we are in general in the melt up phase of this trend cycle. But what you also see is that gold and prime and silver, silver's outperforming everything at the moment. But while everything is rising, you're seeing a rise in the spot silver and the spot gold markets at a significantly higher level relative to the performance of anything else. So what I think that's moving those markets is the smart money. And I think that that really started at the beginning of this year when we had this huge influx of the physical gold and physical silver into the US. So I think that this is nothing new. I think it's just becoming more visible, and that it will now trickle down to more of the masses.
Farber is of the opinion that we are currently in the process of entering the melt-up phase, during which panic money is chasing real assets. Zang refers to it as the global reset in motion, which involves a transition from paper promises to physical possession. In their opinion, each ounce of gold and silver that you possess today is not a product of speculation. It's safeguarding.
I think that mainstream Wall Street firms are all just followers of each other, and they follow each other in a circle, and they just run after each other faster and faster. And that's what the business cycle really is. It's just a bunch of copiers following each other in a tighter and tighter circle, chasing each other's tails. It's like, instead of one dog chasing its own tail, it's just a bunch of dogs chasing each other's tail. And once the dog sees that somebody's tail is, over here, it'll just change, and then the circle will go to another direction, and start spinning in another area. So do I think that Wall Street will always chase the asset that's going up? Yeah, they seem to do that. That doesn't take much smarts to say, oh well, now go well, let's do the experiment that I recommended doing at the beginning. Like, instead of saying gold, say money. Instead of saying, when people usually say money, say gold. When people usually say gold, say money. So if money is at an all-time high relative to dollars, then should you go after money instead of dollars? Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna, you don't have to be so smart to do that. And do I think other people will start to chase money also when they realize that dollars are falling? Yeah, I think they will. And that is what hyperinflation is. It's when everybody realizes that they need money because they don't have any, and that the price of everything is falling in terms of money, and the price of everything is rising in terms of credit, in terms of dollars. So everyone will chase money at the same time. And at that point, we should be like, maybe now that everyone wants money, we should maybe buy some stocks. I mean, we haven't gotten there yet, but I maybe I'll be the first gold bug or money bug to say, I think gold. I think it's enough gold. I think the whole banking system is now kaput, and let's go after some assets that aren't money now. Maybe I'll be the first one. Maybe I'll be like, among the handful of first ones. I'll leave. I'm not married to being a gold bug or anything.
Well,
Lynette, your thoughts? Yeah.
Well, I'm not married to anything anyway, other than we are inside of the life cycle of this fiat money, whether it's US dollars or euros or yen. And so, again, I think that there is a lead that the central banks have put in place, and I think that Wall Street is starting to recognize it, because one of the big shockers to me was seeing how openly, Wall Street is talking about the debasement trade. And so if they're now talking about the debasement trade, then of course we're going to see outperformance in spot gold and spot silver. But I'd like to emphasize right now that even though technically they are overbought, fundamentally, they are still critically undervalued. And who would know this? The central banks would know this. And I do think that Wall Street is starting to follow that lead. And I'd also like to take you back to the last shift in the early 80s, in the 70s, and then going into the early 80s, when Wall Street then as well got on the gold bandwagon and even established some funds with collectible coins. Wall Street's always got to make a buck. They've got to find what they can push up. And if they are openly talking about this debasement trade, that's going to continue now because there's no other option. And so there's no doubt in my mind, especially entering a hyperinflationary phase, if we are indeed in that melt up phase where you're going to see everything go up, well, that's when gold and silver on the spot market really perform, but nothing performs as well as when the public loses confidence. And we're seeing that more and more. And that question of confidence here in the US, the confidence that the government can come to terms and actually work on something together. Never have I seen it this divided. And what that does, whether it's politically intentional or not, is it further erodes that confidence level. And that's the only thing that's holding it together anyway. So it makes a lot of sense watching Wall Street beginning to participate and then encouraging their clients to participate because they want to live to play another day. And if you use up all the principal, guess what? You got nothing to play with. And so what will gold and silver do? What it's always done, create that bridge to get from one currency and that reset into the next currency. And I think it's beginning to be recognized, but I don't necessarily think that that's a brand new thing because we've already been watching those big box stores here in the US like Costco and Amazon and Walmart. They're not carrying gold and silver because there's no demand from the public for it. So this isn't actually something new, but I think that it will, the rise when prices go up, that encourages more participation because fear of missing out. And I don't frankly care how anybody starts to get involved in the metals markets. Just get involved, just own it. And you know me, I'm a physical gal because we're in this transition.
We are currently experiencing a once-in-a-generation reevaluation of wealth. The world is discreetly returning to sound money, to assets that cannot be defaulted or devalued overnight, as credit markets tremble and governments print to survive. Farber's message to investors is unambiguous. Silver is the lightning that ignites gold, which reaches infinity in fiat terms when credit is extinguished. Zhang's guidance is equally unambiguous. Be prepared, educate yourself, and engage in physical activity prior to the system's reset. Therefore, the inquiry is as follows. What will you be holding on to when the smoke has settled? Real money or paper promises? Do you believe that silver has the potential to reach $600 as the confidence in the currency erodes? Please express your opinions in the remarks section below. We read all individuals. If this video has facilitated your understanding of the underlying events, please click the like button, subscribe to remain informed about the reset, and activate the bell to receive live updates on gold and silver. Because the completion of this historic transition will not be determined by the quantity of dollars one possesses, but rather by the amount of genuine wealth they have acquired prior to the change.